Emily stood quietly near her mother's grave, her hands resting gently on her pregnant belly. The cold wind brushed against her cheeks, but she barely felt it. Her heart was too heavy, filled with sadness, confusion, and the painful reality that her mother was truly gone. She was only a few months away from becoming a mother herself, but at that moment, she felt like a lost child. Tears slid silently down her face as prayers were spoken around her. Family members and friends stood close, offering whispers of support, but Emily felt completely alone. Beside her stood Daniel, her husband. She kept hoping he would squeeze her hand, put an arm around her, say something comforting, anything. But Daniel stayed stiff, distant, and almost cold. Emily noticed it, but she pushed the thought away. She believed grief affected people differently. Maybe he just didn't know how to comfort her. But deep inside, Emily sensed something was wrong. The burial ended, and people slowly began walking back toward their cars. Emily remained, staring at her mother's name carved into the stone. She whispered a quiet goodbye to the woman who had raised her with strength, love, and sacrifice. She wished her mother could have met her grandchild. She wished she could call her one more time, hear her voice again, or get one last piece of advice. As she wiped her tears, Daniel cleared his throat behind her. "Emily, we need to talk." His voice wasn't soft or gentle. It was firm, almost annoyed, as if he had been waiting impatiently for this moment. Emily turned around slowly, confused. This wasn't the time for serious conversations. They were at a funeral. Her mother's funeral. "What is it?" she asked, trying to steady her voice. Daniel took a deep breath, avoiding her eyes. "I think we should separate." Those 6 words hit her harder than any storm ever could. Her mind froze. The cemetery around her disappeared. The sounds of people talking, the wind blowing, the soft rustling of leaves, everything went silent. All she could hear was her heartbeat pounding in her ears. "Separate," she whispered, almost unable to breathe. "Daniel, you can't say this here." But he did not care. He didn't show a single sign of regret or compassion. Instead, he looked irritated, as if she was making things difficult. "This isn't working anymore," he said bluntly. "I've been thinking about it for a long time. I don't want to pretend anymore." Emily blinked, hoping she misheard him. "But I'm pregnant," she reminded him softly, her voice shaking. "We have a baby coming. I need you. The baby needs you." Daniel shrugged. "I didn't ask for any of this, Emily. Things changed. I changed. And honestly, I don't want to be tied down." "Tied down?" Emily repeated, feeling as if her heart was being crushed. "This is our child." But Daniel had already emotionally checked out. It was clear he had rehearsed this moment, planned exactly what he wanted to say, and didn't care how deeply it would hurt her. He continued, "I'll move my things out today. I already talked to a lawyer." Her knees almost gave out. She held on to the edge of a bench to keep herself from falling. She felt dizzy, overwhelmed, as if the earth beneath her feet was cracking open. "You chose this moment?" she asked, tears pouring down her face. "Daniel, my mother was just buried. How could you do this today?" His face remained expressionless. "I didn't want to drag it out. Better to say it now." Those words stabbed her heart. He wasn't just leaving her, he was abandoning her at her most fragile moment. Emily stared at him, searching his face for even a small sign of guilt, regret, or love. But there was nothing. Only annoyance. Only impatience. Only coldness. Family members who noticed their tense conversation began quietly glancing in their direction. Emily felt embarrassed, exposed, and completely humiliated. She shook her head in disbelief. "Please don't do this," she whispered. "Not now." Daniel exhaled sharply. "I've made my decision." And just like that, he turned and walked away. Emily watched his back as he left her standing alone in the cemetery. The man she trusted, loved, and built her life with didn't even look back. She held her belly protectively, feeling her baby kick gently, as if sensing her distress. She sank slowly onto the bench, crying harder than she ever had before. Losing her mother was painful enough. But losing her husband at the same time, at the same place, on the same day, felt unbearable. But even through her heartbreak, a strange, quiet strength settled inside her. She didn't understand it yet, but somewhere deep within, a tiny spark began to grow. She wasn't completely broken. Not yet. And not forever. She looked at her mother's grave again, tears blurring her vision. "I'll survive this, Mom," she whispered. "I promise." Little did she know, her life was about to change more than she ever imagined. The betrayal she experienced that day would soon be overshadowed by a shocking truth, one that would give her the power to rise again, stronger than ever. And Daniel, who walked away so easily, had no idea what he was leaving behind. The hours after the funeral felt like a long, painful blur for Emily. When she finally reached home, her feet felt heavy, her eyes were swollen, and her heart ached so badly that it hurt to breathe. She walked inside the house she once shared with Daniel, hoping he would at least be there, waiting to explain, waiting to apologize, waiting to be human. But the silence inside the house felt like a punch. Daniel had already started removing his things. His jackets were gone. His shoes were missing from the rack. Half the closet was empty. The toothbrush stand held only her brush. The smell of his cologne, which used to linger in the hallway, was fading. Emily walked slowly through the house, trembling, each step a reminder that her life had changed completely in just a few hours. She tried to stay strong, for her baby, but the weight of everything crashed down on her all at once. She sat on the couch and buried her face in her hands. She cried until no more tears came out. It felt unfair. Life had taken her mother away and her husband too. She wondered what she had done to deserve so much pain in one single day. After a while, her phone buzzed. It was a message from Daniel. "I'll come tomorrow for the rest of my stuff. Please don't be home. It will be easier." No apology. No kindness. No concern for the pregnant wife he had just abandoned. Just instructions. Emily's hands shook as she read the message. She placed a hand on her belly, whispering softly, "I'm so sorry, my little one. I wanted you to come into a happy home." The baby kicked lightly, as if reassuring her. Later, her best friend, Sarah, arrived, worried after hearing how Daniel had walked out at the cemetery. As soon as Sarah saw Emily's red eyes and trembling lips, she hugged her tightly. "I'm here," Sarah whispered. "You're not alone." Emily finally let herself speak out loud. Why did he do it like this? At the funeral? In front of everyone? Who does that? Sarah shook her head. Someone who doesn't deserve you. Someone who never understood what love truly means. But Emily kept blaming herself. Maybe I wasn't enough. Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I pushed him away without noticing. No, Emily. Don't think like that. Sarah held her shoulders firmly. Good men don't leave their pregnant wives. And they definitely don't choose their mother-in-law's burial to announce it. For the first time that day, Emily felt understood. Still broken, but not invisible. That night, sleep wouldn't come to her. She stayed awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking of her mother. Her mother's gentle voice echoed in her mind, saying what she used to say whenever Emily was hurt. Life breaks us so we can learn to stand stronger than before. But Emily didn't feel strong yet. She only felt empty. As she struggled to calm her thoughts, she remembered a conversation she had with her mother just 2 weeks before her passing. Her mother had said, "There are things you don't know yet, things I need to tell you when the time is right." But Emily never got the chance to ask what she meant. It had seemed unimportant then, but now the words replayed in her head, filling her with curiosity and confusion. The next morning, Emily forced herself out of bed. She made tea, though she barely tasted it, and tried to ignore the sound of Daniel's car pulling up outside. She stayed in the guest room like he asked, tears silently falling as she heard him moving around, opening and closing drawers, dragging boxes, packing his clothes carelessly. At one point, she heard him laugh while talking on the phone. Even that hurt. After about an hour, the front door shut loudly, and his car drove away. Just like that, he was gone. But the loneliness didn't end there. Later that day, Emily received a call from Daniel's sister. She didn't ask how Emily was. Instead, she said, "Daniel just needs freedom. You should let him go peacefully." Emily stared at the phone in disbelief before hanging up. Then another message came, this time from Daniel himself. "I'll send divorce papers this week. Let's keep things simple." Simple. The word felt cruel. Their marriage, their baby, their entire life together, summed up in one cold message. Emily cried again, but this time the tears were different. They weren't the tears of a weak woman. They were the tears of someone who realized she was facing the world alone now, but she was still standing. In the afternoon, Emily decided to visit her mother's house to gather some documents needed for funeral procedures. She dragged herself through the front door, inhaling the familiar scent of her mother, lavender and warm tea. The house felt frozen in time, like her mother was still there, humming softly in the kitchen. She went into the study room, where her mother used to keep important papers. The desk drawers were neatly arranged, just like her mother always kept them. As Emily searched for documents, her hand brushed against a small sealed envelope with her name written on it. Emily. Her mother's handwriting. Her heart skipped a beat. She opened the envelope with trembling fingers. Inside was a short note. "My dear Emily. If you are reading this, life has taken a turn I didn't expect. But don't be afraid. Everything will be all right. You are stronger than you know, and there is something I left behind for you. Something that will help you build a new life. Go to Mr. Harrison. He knows everything. With all my love. Mom." Emily read the letter twice, tears dripping onto the paper. Something she left behind. Something that would help her build a new life. In that moment, something changed inside her. For the first time since the funeral, she felt a small spark of hope, a soft light in the middle of all the darkness. She wiped her tears slowly. Her mother had left her something important, something she had no idea about. And Emily knew that whatever mysteries were ahead, they might change her entire future. Maybe losing her husband wasn't the end. Maybe it was the beginning of something she never saw coming. Emily sat quietly in her mother's study, holding the letter over and over again as if it might suddenly reveal more secrets. The room felt warmer than the rest of the house, filled with old books, photographs, and memories. Every corner reminded her of her mother, her gentle voice, her soft smile, the way she always said, "There's more to life than what you see right now." Emily had no idea what her mother meant in that mysterious letter. Who was Mr. Harrison? What did he know? And what exactly had her mother left behind for her? Her curiosity battled with her exhaustion, but in the end, curiosity won. She picked up her bag, took one last look around the house, and stepped outside into the chilly afternoon air. Her mother's lawyer's office wasn't far, but the entire drive felt surreal. She kept thinking about the letter, the strange message, and all the questions that suddenly filled her mind. When Emily pulled into the parking lot of the law firm, she swallowed nervously. The building looked intimidating, tall glass doors, polished floors, and a receptionist with perfect posture who greeted her with a practiced smile. "Hello, how can I help you today?" the receptionist asked. Emily held out the letter. I need to see Mr. Harrison. My mother told me to come." The receptionist's expression softened immediately. "You must be Emily Carter. Mr. Harrison has been expecting you. Expecting her? Emily's heart skipped a beat. She followed the receptionist down a quiet hallway until they reached a large wooden door. The receptionist knocked softly and opened it. Inside, an older man with silver hair and kind eyes stood up from behind a desk. He smiled warmly. "Emily," he said gently. "I'm glad you came." Emily sat down, clutching her bag tightly. "My mom left me this letter," she said, handing it to him. "I don't understand what she meant." Mr. Harrison read the letter slowly, nodding with emotion. "Your mother was a remarkable woman," he said. "And she prepared everything carefully before she passed." Emily leaned forward. "Prepared what?" He opened a drawer and pulled out a large folder with her mother's name on it. Inside were documents neatly organized, sealed envelopes, and handwritten notes. Emily felt overwhelmed. Why didn't she tell me any of this before?" Emily asked, her voice trembling. "Because she wanted to protect you," Mr. Harrison answered softly. "Your mother kept many things private, not because she didn't trust you, but because she wanted you to grow up without pressure, without fear, and without unwanted attention." Emily frowned. "Unwanted attention? From who?" Mr. Harrison closed the folder slowly. "From people who might have taken advantage of her, and you." A cold chill ran down Emily's spine. For a moment, Daniel's face flashed in her mind, his sudden coldness, his harsh words, the timing of his decision. Had her mother seen something long before Emily did? "What did she leave me?" Emily whispered, scared of the answer. Mr. Harrison didn't reply immediately. Instead, he stood up and walked to a locked cabinet. He pulled out a heavy black box, placed it gently on the desk, and slid it toward her. "This," he said, "is the beginning." Emily opened the box slowly. Inside she found several property deeds, business partnership certificates, bank statements with numbers she couldn't even process, a gold key, a long letter addressed to her. She stared at everything in silent shock. None of it looked real. None of it matched the life she believed her mother had lived. They had always lived humbly, simply. Her mother never wore expensive clothes, never bought luxury items, never talked about owning businesses or having money. Her hands shook. I don't understand any of this." Mr. Harrison spoke gently. "Your mother was a silent investor in multiple companies. She kept her wealth hidden to protect her privacy and to protect you from people who might have used you. She wanted to tell you everything when she felt the time was right, but life didn't give her the chance." Emily's heartbeat quickened. How much are we talking about?" Mr. Harrison sighed softly. "It's more than most people can imagine, Emily. And you are the sole heir." Emily felt lightheaded, her vision blurring for a second. She took a deep breath, gripping the edge of the desk. "But why didn't she tell me?" she whispered. "Why did she keep it secret?" "Because she was waiting to see the kind of person you would become," he explained kindly. "She didn't want money to shape your personality. She wanted you to grow with kindness, humility, and compassion. And you did." Emily felt tears forming again, not from sadness this time, but from confusion and disbelief. She felt like she had been thrown into a different world overnight. Mr. Harrison handed her the letter addressed to her. "Your mother wrote this to explain everything. Take it home, read it in a quiet place, and come back tomorrow. There is a lot more you need to know." Emily nodded slowly, standing up on shaky legs. When she stepped back into her car, she sat motionless for several minutes, staring at the black box on her lap. Her life had fallen apart just 24 hours ago, her husband left her, and she thought she lost everything. But now, she held a box full of secrets, wealth, and answers she wasn't prepared for. She placed a hand on her belly and whispered to her baby, "Maybe things are about to change." She had no idea how true those words were. Life wasn't done surprising her, not even close. When Emily returned home with the black box resting on her lap, her hands were trembling. She had never expected her day to take such a strange and overwhelming turn. First the funeral. Then Daniel leaving her. And now, this shocking discovery about her mother's hidden life. The house felt quiet, almost too quiet, as she stepped inside. She placed the box gently on the coffee table and stared at it like it was something magical and frightening at the same time. Her heart beat loudly in her ears. She kept wondering what else her mother had kept hidden and how much more her life was about to change. She finally gathered the courage to open the envelope addressed to her. The letter inside was longer than the previous one. Her mother's familiar handwriting made her eyes fill with tears before she even began reading. My dear Emily. If you are reading this, then I am no longer with you. Please forgive me for keeping secrets from you. Everything I have done was to protect you. The world can be cruel, and money can make it even more dangerous. I wanted you to grow up with kindness, with love, not with greed and pressure. Emily paused, wiping her tears. Her mother had always been gentle, always thoughtful. She could almost hear her voice whispering those words. The letter continued. I invested quietly for many years. I never told anyone, not even family, because I knew some people would have treated you differently if they knew. I wanted you to be loved for your heart, not for your inheritance. Now, the time has come for you to take this responsibility. Everything I worked for is now yours. Emily exhaled slowly. She felt overwhelmed and unprepared. She didn't feel like someone who could handle businesses, properties, or financial decisions. She was just trying to survive heartbreak and pregnancy. She kept reading. Inside the box, you will find documents of businesses I invested in. Most of them are managed by trusted partners. You will not need to run anything alone. Mr. Harrison will guide you. You will also find a key, a very important key. It belongs to a safety deposit box at Empire Trust Bank. Inside it, you will find answers about our family history, and something else I left for you and your child. Emily touched the small golden key inside the box. It felt heavy, meaningful, almost warm. Her mother's letter continued, growing more emotional. My dear child, you have always had a strong heart, even when you didn't see it. Life will test you, but you will rise. I know it, because you are my daughter. Do not let betrayal break you. Do not let pain weaken you. Your new life begins now, and you deserve happiness. Protect yourself, protect your baby, and trust your heart. At the end of the letter was one final line that made Emily's breath catch. And Emily, be careful of those who come back into your life. Not everyone will return for the right reasons. Emily stared at that sentence for several minutes. A strange feeling crept over her, fear mixed with realization. Was her mother warning her about someone specific? Someone like Daniel? Her instincts whispered yes. She folded the letter gently and placed it beside her. Her mind felt full, like she had stepped into a completely different world without preparation. She rubbed her stomach softly. Her baby gave a small kick, almost as if reacting to her stress. I promise, baby, she whispered softly, I'll protect us. I won't let anyone hurt us again. Just then, her phone buzzed. For a moment she was afraid to look, afraid it would be another cold message from Daniel. But instead, it was Sarah checking on her. Are you okay? Want me to come over? Emily stared at the message. She needed time alone. There was too much to process. Too many secrets. I'm okay, she replied. Just need some time. We'll talk tomorrow. She placed her phone aside and stared again at the documents inside the black box. There were shares in oil companies, tech startups, real estate investments, and even a boutique hotel chain. Everything looked huge and complicated. She flipped through the papers slowly, trying to understand them. On one of the pages, she saw a number written at the bottom. $500 million. Emily gasped, covering her mouth with her hand. Her heart started racing. She blinked hard, thinking she misread the number. She forced herself to read it again. $500 million. Her chest rose and fell rapidly. She froze, unable to breathe for a moment. How? How was this possible? Her mother, the woman who wore old sweaters, who cooked simple meals, who never once acted wealthy, was actually hiding a $500 million empire. Emily felt dizzy, gripping the edge of the table to steady herself. Emotions flooded her: shock, confusion, anger, sadness, gratitude, fear, all mixed together. She whispered into the empty room, "Mom, why didn't you tell me?" But she already knew the answer. Her mother had been protecting her. From greedy people. From danger. From the world. Emily's eyes moved to the golden key again. There were still more secrets waiting for her at the bank. And she could feel it deep in her heart: this was only the beginning. Her life, which had shattered just days ago, was rebuilding itself in ways she never imagined. But she also knew something else. When people found out about this inheritance, especially those who thought she was weak, helpless, and easy to manipulate, they would come back. Including Daniel. Emily took a deep breath. Whatever was coming next, she had to be ready. She wasn't just a grieving daughter anymore. She was the heiress of a hidden empire. Emily woke up the next morning feeling like she had lived through an entire lifetime in just a few days. Her body felt heavy, her mind still struggling to understand everything she had discovered. She placed a hand on her growing belly, whispering a soft good morning to her baby, trying to find some warmth in the coldness around her. She sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the golden key again. Today, she planned to visit the bank. Today, she would unlock more of her mother's secrets, secrets that could change everything she believed about her past and her future. Before leaving, she ate a small breakfast, though her stomach twisted with nervousness. She dressed simply, tying her hair back, wanting to appear calm even though she was anything but. As she looked into the mirror, she noticed something new in her reflection: a tiny spark of strength in her eyes, a quiet determination that had not been there before. Maybe her mother had seen this strength all along. When she arrived at Empire Trust Bank, the building looked grand, almost intimidating, with tall marble columns and polished floors that reflected the bright lights. Emily walked to the counter, holding the key tightly in her hand. "Good morning," she said softly to the banker. "I need access to a safety deposit box. My mother left me this key." The banker checked the number engraved on it, his eyes widening slightly. "Of course, Miss Carter. Right this way." His tone changed, becoming more respectful, almost careful. Emily didn't understand why until he led her into a private room deep inside the bank. The door was thick and secured with multiple locks. It felt like stepping into a hidden world meant for secrets and treasure. When the box was finally brought to her, Emily's hands trembled. The metal container looked old but well-maintained, as if it had been opened and closed only by her mother for many years. Emily took a deep breath and unlocked it. Inside, she found things that made her heart stop. The first item was a bundle of handwritten letters tied with a red ribbon. Each letter had dates stretching back many years, long before Emily was even born. She set them aside carefully, knowing they held stories she was not ready for yet. Next, she found a small velvet pouch. Inside it lay a diamond necklace, the most stunning piece of jewelry she had ever seen. The diamond sparkled even under the dull bank lights. She touched it gently, feeling a strange connection, as if the necklace had a story too, one her mother never shared. There was also a passport, the last thing she expected. But when she opened it, her heart skipped a beat. It wasn't her mother's passport. It was her father's. Her father, who she believed had left them when she was a baby. Her father, who her mother rarely talked about. The pages were stamped with locations Emily had never even heard of. There were handwritten notes inside too, marked with codes and unfamiliar addresses. Why did her mother have this? What was the truth about her father? Emily placed the passport down, trying to breathe. She felt like she had opened a door to a world she never knew existed, a world of secrets, wealth, and mysteries involving even her own family. But what she found next made her entire body go cold. At the bottom of the box was a large envelope sealed with wax. The seal had a family crest she didn't recognize. Inside were legal documents, wills, partnership papers, and financial certificates. And in the middle of it was the final document. Transfer of assets to heir, total estate value, $500 million. Emily stared at the number again and again, her vision blurring. $500 million. She wasn't dreaming. She wasn't imagining. It was all real, every unbelievable detail. Her mother had left her a $500 million empire. The air felt thick around her. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears. She sat back, almost dizzy, trying to understand what this meant for her future. Money so large it didn't even feel like money. It felt like a responsibility. A new identity. A new life she didn't ask for but now had to accept. Emily felt tears rise, but not of fear this time. These were tears of gratitude, confusion, love, and disbelief. Her mother had spent her whole life protecting her from the world. Now she had left Emily with the power to protect herself, and her baby. But with that power came danger. Emily knew it deep in her heart. People change when money is involved. People lie, pretend, manipulate. People return with fake smiles and greedy intentions. Her mother's final warning echoed in her mind. Be careful of those who come back into your life. Emily closed the box slowly, her hand steadying as a new resolve settled inside her. She wasn't the same woman who was abandoned at a cemetery. She wasn't the same woman who cried alone in her living room. She wasn't the same woman Daniel thought he could walk away from easily. She was different now. She was stronger. She had something to protect. As she left the bank, the world outside looked different. Brighter. Bigger. More dangerous, but also full of possibilities. Emily touched her belly gently. It's just you and me now, she whispered. And we're going to be okay. More than okay. But she didn't know something important. Someone had seen her leaving the bank. And that someone recognized her. And that someone would soon bring trouble into her new life, trouble she never saw coming. Emily returned home from the bank with a strange mix of emotions spinning inside her, fear, excitement, confusion, and a new kind of strength she didn't know she had. The documents and letters she found were still fresh in her mind, like shadows she couldn't shake off. She kept thinking about the necklace, the passport, the letters tied with the red ribbon, and the giant number written in black ink, $500 million. That number didn't feel real. None of it did. But she didn't have time to stop and process everything. She had to think about practical things too, her baby, her future, her safety. She knew her life had already changed, but now she had to learn how to live with that change. The next morning, Emily forced herself to wake up early. She wanted to start fresh, to breathe and ground herself. She made a cup of tea, sat by the window, and watched the sunlight slowly spill over the yard. It was peaceful, calm, and exactly what she needed after days of chaos. But peace never stayed for long. Around mid-morning, she heard a knock at the door. Soft at first, then slightly louder. Emily froze. She wasn't expecting anyone. Her heart began to beat faster. She stood up slowly, one hand instinctively resting on her belly. When she opened the door, she didn't find Daniel, or a stranger, or a lawyer. She found Sarah. Her best friend stood there with a bag of groceries in one hand and a worried look on her face. Emily, you didn't call me yesterday. I was scared. Sarah stepped inside without waiting for permission and hugged her tightly. I thought something happened. You just disappeared. Emily closed her eyes and allowed herself to relax into the comfort of a friend. Sarah smelled like vanilla and fresh laundry, a smell that felt safe. I found some things, Emily whispered. About my mom. Things I never knew. Sarah pulled away slightly. What things? Emily didn't know where to start. She left me, a lot. And she also left secrets. Her voice shook. Sarah sat down on the couch, confused. What kind of secrets? Emily hesitated. She didn't want to say the number. Not yet. She didn't want anyone, even the people she trusted, to treat her differently. She needed time to understand everything herself first. So she focused on the emotional part. My mother had a life she never told me about. Investments. Properties. People she trusted. She wanted to protect me. Sarah listened carefully, showing genuine concern. Her eyes softened. Emily, your mother loved you so much. She always put you first. Emily nodded, feeling tears forming again. I know. And now I don't even know how to handle all this. I'm scared, Sarah. You don't have to be scared, Sarah said, placing a gentle hand on her knee. I'm here. For you. For the baby. Always. Emily felt grateful, really, truly grateful. But something inside her told her not to reveal everything just yet. Not the money. Not the key. Not the passport. Not the inheritance. Some things needed to stay private. For now. After Sarah left, Emily decided it was time to take her mother's advice seriously. She needed to rebuild her life, piece by piece, starting with her emotional health. She looked around the house, Daniel's house, filled with memories she no longer wanted. His clothes may have been gone, but pieces of him lingered in every corner, photos, decorations he chose, the faint smell of his cologne in the closet. Emily walked through each room slowly, touching the walls, the furniture, the picture frames. She felt her heart grow heavier. This house wasn't her home anymore. It was a reminder of hurt and betrayal. She couldn't raise her baby here. She needed a new place, a safe place, a home that belonged only to her and her child. So she called a real estate agent. Hi, she said softly. I'm looking for a new home. Somewhere quiet and safe. Somewhere I can start over. The agent offered to send her listings immediately. Emily felt a small flicker of hope. As she ended the call, her phone buzzed again with a message. She expected it to be the agent, but her stomach dropped when she saw the sender. It was Daniel. The text was short, emotionless, and insulting in its coldness. We need to finalize everything soon. I'll send the divorce papers tonight. Emily stared at the message with burning eyes. Not one word about her, not one thought about the baby. She felt anger spreading inside her, not loud anger, but a quiet, powerful kind, the kind that came from betrayal and clarity. She typed back. I'll review them. That was all. No emotion. No begging. No tears. She put her phone down and almost smiled when she realized. She wasn't the same woman Daniel left behind. After lunch, Emily opened the letters tied with the red ribbon. They smelled faintly like old paper and memories. She untied the ribbon gently. The first letter was dated 30 years ago, long before Emily was born. It was from her father. My dearest Lily, it began. Emily's heart stopped. Lily was her mother. The letter was emotional, full of love, full of dreams, full of promises that were never fulfilled. Her father wrote about business travels, danger, and a world Emily had never known. Another letter mentioned a name, a powerful, wealthy business figure. Someone who her father claimed was threatening him. Someone who didn't want him to reveal a secret. Emily felt her heart beating faster again. What secret? Why was her father scared? And why did her mother hide all of this? She started reading faster until she reached a letter that made her freeze completely. In it, her father wrote, "If anything happens to me, protect Emily. Protect her from those who would use her for her bloodline and inheritance." Inheritance. There was that word again. Emily leaned back, stunned. The air felt heavy around her. Her mother wasn't just protecting her from greedy people. Her mother was protecting her from danger. Real danger. Danger connected to her father. Danger that might still exist. Emily pressed a hand to her stomach again, whispering, "I'll protect you. No matter what." Just then, there was another knock at the door. Soft. Familiar. Emily's heart tightened. She walked to the door slowly, her palms sweaty. When she opened it, she froze. Standing on her porch was the last person she expected to see. Daniel. And the expression on his face told her he wasn't there for apologies. He was there because he had found out something. Something dangerous. Something about her. And Emily felt her heart drop. Everything was about to get much harder. Emily stood frozen in the doorway, unable to speak. Daniel wasn't supposed to be here. Not after the message he sent. Not after the way he abandoned her. His sudden appearance felt like a dark cloud blocking all the light she had started to rebuild. "Can we talk?" Daniel asked, his voice low but tense. Emily didn't move. "About what?" "You've made everything clear already." Daniel looked around nervously, as if expecting someone to appear behind him. "It's important. Please." His eyes were different. Not angry, not cold, worried. Deeply worried. That scared her more than anything. Emily stepped aside reluctantly, letting him in. She kept her distance, watching him closely. Daniel walked in with slow steps, glancing around the house as if it held answers. "I heard something," he finally said. "Something about your mother." Emily stiffened. "What do you mean?" Daniel swallowed hard. "Someone came to see me at the office. A man. I didn't know him, but he knew things about you, about your mother, and about something she left behind." Emily's heart dropped. The letters. The inheritance. The warnings. "What did he want?" she asked quietly. Daniel ran a hand through his hair, pacing. "He asked if you had documents. A key. A file." I didn't understand what he meant, but he seemed desperate to find it. Emily felt her pulse race. The key. The passport. The inheritance folder. Her father's warnings flooded her mind. Protect Emily. Protect her from those who would use her for her bloodline and inheritance. "Daniel," she said slowly, trying not to panic, "what exactly did he say?" Daniel stopped pacing and turned to her. "He said your father owed him something. Something valuable. And that your mother kept it hidden. He said people would come looking for it." Emily felt the room spin. It wasn't just about money, this was something bigger. More dangerous. "Why didn't you tell him anything?" she asked cautiously. Daniel looked away. "Because. I don't know. At first, I was angry. I thought maybe you were keeping secrets from me, even before the funeral. But when I saw his face, when I realized he knew where I worked, where I live, I got scared." Emily was shocked. Daniel was many things, cold, selfish, insensitive, but she had never seen him frightened. "He warned me," Daniel continued. "He said if you didn't hand over what your mother left, things could get difficult. And then he left. Just like that." Emily wrapped her arms protectively around her belly. "Daniel, why are you telling me this now?" His voice broke slightly. "Because they might come here next." Emily's breath caught. The house suddenly felt smaller, the walls closer. Daniel took a shaky breath. Emily, I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. I was angry, I was overwhelmed, and I reacted like an idiot. But right now, none of that matters. I came here to warn you. Emily didn't respond. She didn't trust him, not anymore. But the fear in his voice wasn't fake. Do you know what they want? He asked quietly. Emily hesitated. She couldn't tell him about the money. She couldn't tell him about the inheritance, the papers, the letters, the key, the passport. Not until she understood everything herself. So she just shook her head. No. Daniel studied her, searching her face for truth. Emily, if you know something, if your mother left you anything, you need to be careful. These people weren't normal. They weren't safe. Emily's throat tightened. Her mother had feared something right until her last breath. Daniel stepped closer. Do you want me to stay? Just until we figure out what's going on. I can. No, Emily said quickly. Daniel blinked. Emily. You left me on the worst day of my life, she said, her voice shaking but strong. You left me when I needed you the most. I can't trust you now. Daniel lowered his head, ashamed. I know. I don't deserve forgiveness. I'm not asking for that. Emily took a step back, her eyes steady. Then what are you asking for? His answer came in a whisper. To keep you safe. Emily didn't know how to respond. Her emotions were tangled, anger, fear, confusion, and a tiny bit of the old familiarity she wished she could erase. Before either of them could speak again, something happened that made Emily's blood run cold. A shadow moved outside the living room window. Quick. Silent. Both she and Daniel saw it. Daniel's face went pale. They're here. Emily's heart pounded. She grabbed her phone with trembling hands. What do we do? Before Daniel could answer, there was a sharp knock on the door. Not gentle. Not familiar. A hard, heavy knock that carried warning. Emily stepped back instinctively, her hand pressed protectively against her stomach. Daniel whispered, "Don't open it." The knock came again. Harder. This time, accompanied by a cold voice from outside. Emily, we need to talk. Her blood turned cold. Whoever they were. They already knew her name. And they weren't leaving. Emily's heart raced as she stood frozen, staring at the front door. The voice outside was calm, almost casual, but it carried a weight that made her skin crawl. Her baby kicked gently, and she instinctively held her belly tighter, feeling a fierce protective instinct rise inside her. She wasn't the frightened, abandoned woman she had been weeks ago. She was stronger now. She was determined. She would not let fear control her, or her child. She took a slow, steadying breath and whispered to herself, "I've survived worse. I can survive this." The knock came again, sharper this time. Emily moved quickly, pulling the door open just a crack. A man in a dark suit stood there, his eyes sharp, calculating. "Emily Carter," he said, his tone polite but cold. "We need to discuss your inheritance." Her stomach dropped. Her mother's warnings came rushing back, "Be careful of those who come back into your life." "I don't know what you're talking about," Emily said, her voice firm, trying to hide the panic rising in her chest. The man smiled faintly, like he was amused by her words. "Oh, but you do. You've already seen the documents, haven't you? The key? The letters?" Emily's mind raced. How could he know? Who had told him? Her father's secrets, her mother's careful planning, the $500 million inheritance. It was all supposed to be hidden, safe, protected. "Leave," she said firmly, her voice shaking only slightly. "I don't know anything, and I won't let you in." The man's smile widened. You can't hide from this, Emily. People like us always find the truth. And those who hold it, are very valuable. Emily slammed the door shut and locked it, her hands trembling. Her pulse pounded in her ears, but somewhere deep inside, she felt clarity. Fear was not going to paralyze her anymore. She had survived betrayal, grief, and abandonment. She had discovered her mother's secrets and inherited a fortune that could change her life forever. She was not helpless, not anymore. She turned to the black box sitting on her table, opened carefully and placed her hands over the papers, the letters, and the golden key. Every document reminded her of her mother's love, her mother's wisdom, and the careful planning that had prepared Emily for moments exactly like this. Emily realized that her life was no longer about surviving. It was about thriving. Protecting herself, her child, and the legacy her mother had built. Over the next few days, she changed the locks, installed security systems, and began carefully organizing her documents and inheritance. She also began meeting with Mr. Harrison, who guided her through the complex world of her mother's investments and businesses. Slowly, Emily felt confidence building inside her. Daniel never returned. She didn't need him. The betrayal had taught her the hard truth: some people leave, but that doesn't make you weaker. It makes you stronger. Emily found a new home, a quiet place filled with sunlight and warmth, a place where she could raise her child without fear. She decorated it with love, putting small touches that reminded her of her mother. Months later, when she held her newborn baby for the first time, Emily felt an overwhelming sense of triumph. This child, her little miracle, was a reminder of survival, resilience, and hope. She whispered softly, "We're safe now. And we're going to be okay." Emily also realized that the inheritance wasn't just money. It was freedom. Freedom to live on her terms, make her own decisions, and rise above betrayal. Freedom to create a future filled with love and security. Though the past had been painful, it had led her to this moment, a new beginning filled with promise. Emily's story was no longer about loss or heartbreak. It was about courage, empowerment, and the knowledge that even in the darkest moments, life has a way of turning pain into strength, betrayal into wisdom, and endings into powerful new beginnings. She looked out the window at the bright morning sun and smiled. The world was hers now, not just to survive in, but to live fully, fearlessly, and beautifully. And for the first time in weeks, Emily felt at peace. Her mother's legacy was safe, her child was safe, and she was finally free. Emily whispered once more to her little one, "This is just the beginning. Our life, our story, it's ours to write." And with that, she embraced the future with open arms, leaving the shadows of the past behind forever.